Ready to explore Guangzhou in 3 days? This is where modern skyscrapers, old trading districts, and some of the best food in China all collide in one city. We're breaking it down into a route that takes you from historic streets to massive parks and one of the biggest entertainment complexes in the country. Stick around for tips that'll help you move through it smoothly and avoid common mistakes. Day 1. Historic Guangzhou and City Highlights. Morning, Shamian Island. Starting your day on Shamian Island is a bit of a head trip because it's so quiet compared to the rest of Guangzhou. This sandbank covers 0.3 square kilometers or 74 acres and feels more like a European park than a Chinese megacity. Walking through the wide boulevards, you're surrounded by colonial buildings and massive banyan trees that have been growing into the stone walls for over a century. It was once a restricted foreign enclave, and that history is still baked into the architecture. It's still the best place to ease into the city's energy without being immediately overwhelmed by the humidity and the traffic. Insider tip: if you want to see the island at its most authentic, arrive before 8 a.m. This is when the local elderly residents take over the parks for communal singing and exercise before the midday heat and the wedding photographers arrive. Qingping Medicine Market. Once you cross the bridge back to the mainland, the serenity of the island disappears and you're dropped straight into the Qingping Medicine Market. This is a massive reality check. The air here smells like dried earth, wood, and spices, and the lanes are packed with vendors trading traditional Chinese medicine on an industrial scale. You'll see everything from giant mushrooms and ginseng roots to more unusual items like dried seahorses filling burlap sacks. It's a gritty, high-energy district where people are actually doing business, not putting on a show for tourists. Walking through here, you get a real sense of how deeply these traditional practices are still woven into everyday life. Late morning, Cathedral of the Sacred Heart of Guangzhou. From the market, cut through the back alleys of the trade district to find the Cathedral of the Sacred Heart, which locals call the Stone House. Completed in 1888, it's a bizarre, solid piece of granite history rising out of a neighborhood full of wholesale shops. Stepping inside is a total reset. The granite walls hold the cool air, and the quiet interior completely mutes the sound of the scooter horns outside. The light hitting the floor through the stained glass gives the space a heavy, peaceful vibe that makes the tropical heat feel miles away. It's one of the few cathedrals in the world built entirely from granite, and standing under those high Gothic vaults is a pretty powerful experience. Afternoon, lunch at Tiger Prawn. For lunch, we're heading to Tiger Prawn on Hoi Pho East Road. This place is a local powerhouse for Vietnamese Cantonese fusion, so expect a lively, noisy crowd. I recommend ordering the signature curry prawns with bread and the fried spring rolls. A full meal here typically costs between $16 and $25. Temple of the Six Banyan Trees. After you've refueled, find your way to the Temple of the Six Banyan Trees. This site has been a spiritual anchor for the city since the year 537, and you feel the weight of those 15 centuries in the ancient wood and stone. The flower pagoda is the main draw, standing 57 meters or 187 feet tall. It looks like a 9-story tower from the outside, but it actually hides 17 different levels within its frame. The atmosphere is grounded and real, with the smell of incense and the sound of low chanting providing a calm middle ground between the old market and the new city. Entry to the grounds will cost you about $1.40. Late afternoon, Zhujiang New Town and Huacheng Square. To see where Guangzhou is heading, take the metro to Zhujiang New Town. Walking into Huacheng Square feels like stepping onto the set of a futuristic movie. This open expanse covers 560,000 square miles or 138 acres and is surrounded by giants, including the CTF Finance Center, which reaches 530 meters or 1,739 feet into the sky. You'll pass the Guangzhou Opera House, a sharp titanium and glass structure that looks like it was dropped here from another timeline. As the sun starts to dip, the glass and steel of the financial district begin to glow, and the whole square takes on a high-tech, polished energy that's pure modern China. Insider tip: if you need a break from the sun, the square actually sits on top of a massive underground mall called Mall of the World. It's full of shops and quick-eat spots, and it's the best way to walk the length of the square while staying in the air conditioning. Evening, Canton Tower. As the light fades, the focus of the city pulls toward the riverbank. The Canton Tower rises 600 meters or 1,968 feet, and seeing it glow against the humid night sky is the ultimate city flex. Its slim-waist design pulses with shifting colors that reflect across the Pearl River. I recommend heading to the observation decks for a massive view of the delta, with tickets ranging from $21 to $55 depending on how high you go. Whether you head to the top or just walk the riverfront promenade, the energy here at night is when the city feels fully switched on. Insider tip: for a better photo without the crowds, take the APM line to the Huacheng station. The park there gives you a clear, unobstructed view of the tower across the water without having to navigate the main tourist docks. Dinner at Dian Dude. To wrap up, get a table at Dian Dude for all-day dim sum. This space is filled with traditional wood carvings and stained glass, making it feel very old-school Guangzhou. Try the jinsha shangfen, which are red rice rolls with crispy shrimp, and the steamed chicken feet. You'll likely spend between $18 and $26 per person. Day 2. Nature parks and local life. Morning, Southern China Botanical Garden. If the first part of your trip was a sprint through history, this morning's all about slowing down to catch your breath. We're heading to the northern edge of the city to the Southern China Botanical Garden. This place is massive, covering 300 hectares or 740 acres, and it feels like a total escape from the concrete and glass of the center. Walking through the tropical greenhouse or the shaded palm sections, you'll notice the air feels different. Less like city humidity and more like a real forest. It's one of those spots where you can actually hear the birds instead of the traffic. I recommend giving yourself at least 3 hours here because it's not the kind of place you want to rush through. Entry's very affordable at roughly $3 per person, but if you want to enter the specialized greenhouses, it will cost you an extra $7. Insider tip: the garden is huge, so keep an eye out for the small open-air shuttle buses near the entrance. They cost about $1.50 and can save your legs a lot of trouble if you want to reach the further forest sections quickly. Afternoon, Yuexiu Mountain Park. Back in the city center, the energy shifts into something more special. Yuexiu Park covers about 86 hectares or 212 acres and is basically the city's communal backyard. This is where you see the real Guangzhou playing out. Groups of retirees practicing Tai Chi, high-intensity badminton games in the middle of walkways, and people dancing to traditional music. You'll find the 5 Rams statue here, which is the unofficial symbol of the city. Standing at the base of the statue, you'll likely be surrounded by families and locals. It's an active, loud, and very human space that shows you exactly how people here unwind. Luohu Park. Right across the road is Luohu Park, which is where you go when you need a break from the crowds at Yuexiu. It's built around a series of large lakes with white, European-style buildings and traditional bridges. Walking the shoreline is a much calmer experience. The noise of the city drops off as you get closer to the water. It's a great spot to just watch the reflections of the trees on the lake and decompress for a few minutes. Afternoon, lunch at Fu Yuyuan. For lunch, we're heading to Fu Yuyuan, a well-known vegetarian spot tucked away near the temple of the Six Banyan Trees area. It's a peaceful, unpretentious restaurant that focuses on fresh vegetables and traditional flavors. I recommend ordering the sweet and sour pork. It's made from lotus root and mushrooms but tastes remarkably like the real thing. A full, healthy lunch here will cost you between $12 and $18 per person. Late afternoon, Chen Clan Ancestral Hall. Once you've eaten, make your way to the Chen Clan Ancestral Hall. This complex was originally built in the late 19th century as a place for the Chen family to study and offer sacrifices. Today, it's essentially a museum of Cantonese craftsmanship. Walking through the courtyards, you should look up at the roof ridges. They're packed with incredibly detailed ceramic figures and scenes from Chinese opera. The level of detail in the wood and stone carvings is honestly a bit overwhelming if you try to take it in all at once. I recommend moving slowly through the halls because the best stuff is often hidden in the corners of the rafters or the door frames. Entry to this masterpiece is only about $1.50. Insider tip: the hall also houses several traditional craft workshops. You can often find masters working on embroidery or ivory-style carvings in the side rooms, which gives you a rare look at these skills still in action. Evening: dinner at 1C Xiaoxi. For dinner in the city, we're going to 1C Xiaoxi, a legendary local spot famous for its clay pot rice. This is a small, family-run restaurant where the focus is entirely on the food. You have to try their beef and egg clay pot rice. The crispy rice at the bottom of the pot is the best part. It's a humble, steaming bowl of comfort food that perfectly represents the flavor of old Guangzhou. Expect to pay between $8 and $12 per person. Pearl River Night Cruise. To wrap up the mission, head down to the Tianzi Wharf or Dashato Wharf for a Pearl River Night Cruise. After a lot of heavy walking, sitting on the deck and watching the skyline drift past is exactly what you need. As the boat moves along the water, landmarks like the Canton Tower and the Leyte Bridge light up in a massive display of neon. It's a completely different perspective of the city, more open, more dramatic, and a lot cooler than being on the street. A standard ticket for a 1-hour cruise will cost you between $14 and $22, depending on which deck you choose. Insider tip: book a cruise that departs around 7:30 p.m. This timing ensures that all the city lights are fully switched on, but you still beat the massive crowds that tend to gather for the later 9 p.m. departures. Day 3. Chimelong Safari and Entertainment. Morning: Chimelong Safari Park. We're shifting gears today and heading south to a place where the scale of everything just gets massive. Chimelong Safari Park isn't your standard city zoo. It covers over 130 hectares or about 320 acres and houses more than 20,000 animals. This is one of those few places where you can see giant pandas, white tigers, and massive herds of giraffes without feeling like they're cramped into tiny cages. The park is split into 2 very different experiences. One half is a walking area through themed zones, but the real highlight is the drive-through safari. You board a large open vehicle that winds through habitats where animals move around with a surprising amount of freedom. It's a strange, cool experience to have a giraffe or zebra practically stick its head into your transport. I recommend doing the drive-through section first thing in the morning when the animals are most active and the heat hasn't kicked in yet. A standard adult ticket will cost you between $42 and $50 depending on whether you visit on a weekday or a weekend. Insider tip: if the lines for the safari train are too long, look for the cable car. It's included in your ticket and gives you a bird's eye view of the entire savannah area, which is a great way to spot the lions and rhinos hiding in the shade. Afternoon: lunch at Panda Restaurant. For lunch, stay inside the park and head to the Panda Restaurant. It's one of the better themed dining spots, and the big draw is that you're literally dining next to a giant panda enclosure. You can watch them munch on bamboo while you eat your own meal. They serve decent Cantonese sets and panda-themed buns that are actually pretty good. Expect to pay between $15 and $25 per person. Late afternoon: Chimelong Paradise Theme Park. Once you've had enough of the wildlife, it's time for a high-energy reset at Chimelong Paradise. This is one of China's premier amusement parks, packed into 60 hectares or about 150 acres of pure adrenaline. After the slower pace of the safari, the noise and the speed here are a complete 180-degree turn. I recommend heading straight for the 10 inversion roller coaster or the dive coaster if you have the stomach for it. You don't need to try to hit every single ride to feel the energy of the place. Sometimes just walking through the themed zones and seeing the scale of the operations is enough. Just be prepared for some serious crowds and long queues, especially for the headline coasters. A ticket here usually runs around $35. Insider tip: download the Chimelong app before you go. It provides real-time wait counts for all the major rides, so you aren't wasting 40 minutes walking across the park for a coaster that has a 2-hour line. Evening, dinner at White Tiger Restaurant. For dinner, we're heading to the White Tiger Restaurant located inside the Chimelong Hotel. This is one of the most unique dining rooms in the country because the entire restaurant is built around a central atrium that houses live white tigers and flamingos. It's a massive international buffet with everything from fresh seafood to traditional dim sum. It's a bit of a spectacle, but the food quality is high and the setting is unforgettable. A dinner buffet here will cost you between $45 and $60 per person. It's a bit of a splurge, but sitting next to a window while a white tiger paces a few meters away is a solid experience you won't get elsewhere. Chimelong International Circus. To wrap up this mission, we're finishing at the Chimelong International Circus. It's a permanent, high-tech production with a massive arena that seats thousands. The show features hundreds of performers from all over the world, elaborate costumes, and special effects that make it feel more like a Las Vegas residency than a traditional circus. The pacing is fast, the acts are genuinely impressive. It's designed to be a total sensory overload to end your day. Tickets usually range from $45 to $75 depending on how close you want to be to the stage. Since you're already in the Chimelong complex, it's an easy walk from dinner to the arena. Insider tip: seating is first come, first served for most ticket tiers. Even if you have a ticket, show up at least 45 minutes before the curtain goes up if you want a central view. The VIP seats are great, but the standard seats in the middle sections offer just as good a perspective on the aerial acts. Useful info for spending 3 days in Guangzhou. Best time to visit Guangzhou. Aim for October to December or March to April. These months give you warm but manageable weather, usually between 18 to 28 degrees Celsius or 64 to 82 degrees Fahrenheit, which works well for walking heavy days like this itinerary. Summer gets extremely hot and humid, often above 33 degrees Celsius or 91 degrees Fahrenheit, with sudden rain and heavy air that slows everything down. Winter is mild, around 10 to 20 degrees Celsius or 50 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit, but can feel damp and gray rather than cold. City airport tips. You'll most likely arrive at Guangzhou Baiyun International Airport, located about 30 kilometers or 19 miles from the city center. The easiest option is the metro. Line 3 connects the airports directly to central areas like Zhujiang New Town in about 40 to 50 minutes, costing around $1 to $2. Airport buses are also available, but slower depending on traffic. Taxis and ride apps like Didi are widely used, with rides to the center usually costing between $15 and $30 depending on distance and time of day. Where to stay in Guangzhou? For this itinerary, stay near Zhujiang New Town. This area places you close to the skyline, Canton Tower, and major metro connections, making day one especially easy to navigate. Hotels here usually range between $100 and $220 per night depending on comfort level. Another strong option is the Liwan district near Shamian Island. This area feels more historic with easier access to day one's older neighborhoods and markets. Prices here are often lower, usually between $70 and $160 per night. Both areas work well, but Zhujiang New Town is more convenient overall for moving between different parts of the city. How to get around Guangzhou? The metro is the easiest and most reliable way to move around the city. A single ride usually costs between 50 cents and $1 depending on distance, and the system connects to all major districts clearly and efficiently. For places slightly outside the center, like the Chimelong Resort area, take Metro Line 3 to Hanxi Changlong Station, then use a short taxi ride or local shuttle to reach the entrances. Taxis and ride apps like Didi are useful for short distances, typically costing between $5 and $15 depending on traffic and distance. Where to eat in Guangzhou? Guangzhou is the undisputed capital of Cantonese cuisine, where people live to eat rather than eating to live. Here's where you find the best spots outside the standard tourist loops. For a true high-energy local experience, get a table at Taotaoju on Shongxiaoju Pedestrian Street. This is one of the oldest and most iconic dim sum names in the city, dating back to 1880. I recommend ordering the signature shrimp dumplings and the crispy barbecue pork buns. The textures are exactly what Cantonese food is supposed to be. Most meals here will cost between $15 and $25, making it an incredible value for a Michelin-recognized institution. If you want something more refined, book a table at Bingsheng Mansion in Zhujiang New Town. This is where you go for elevated Cantonese cooking, specifically their signature crispy roasted pork, which has a skin so thin and crunchy it feels like a wafer. The space is elegant and sits right in the heart of the financial district. A full dinner here generally ranges from $45 to $80 per person, providing a polished, professional side of the city's food scene. For a plant-based option that will actually surprise you, go to Qingchun Permaculture in the IGC Plaza. This isn't your typical Buddhist mock meat cafeteria. It's a creative, high-design vegetarian restaurant that focuses on fresh, seasonal ingredients and modern presentation. I recommend the black truffle fried rice and their unique yam-based starters. It's an amazing value at roughly $14 to $22 per person, offering a sleek and peaceful escape from the CBD noise. The markets are closing, the skyline is lit, and you've just moved through Guangzhou the right way. From old trading streets to river views and the chaos of Chimelong all in a few days, that's Guangzhou at its best. If this itinerary helped you plan things out, hit like, subscribe, and drop a comment. And if you're continuing through China, you can't skip Beijing. Jump into that video next and keep it going.